Welcome to WatchMojo UK, and today we're looking at the UK's most infamous high-maintenance celebrities.
If you'd like some help, if you'd like to discuss coaching, discuss some help, you can direct message me here.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Number 10. Gemma Collins.
So sorry I'm late. I have such a manic lifestyle.
Kicking things off with a proper reality TV hurricane, the GC brand comes with it as much drama as it does star power. Reports and first-hand accounts from various productions have painted a picture of missed call times, diva-level demands, and walk-offs that leave crews in a state.
Diva? You calling me a diva? I know I was late, but I ain't having it. Who does he think he's talking to?
From that famously brief stint in the jungle to very public rows on Dancing on Ice, the headlines have often arrived before the closing credits.
Can I just say one thing? Maybe if you didn't sell stories on me, I wouldn't have been so upset this week.
To her fans, it's part of the entertainment. To producers on a tight schedule, it can be a nightmare. Collins herself leans into the persona, which is great telly, but it does mean the working day can get a bit livelier.
I'm talking about your performance, darling.
Next.
You know, but this doesn't help your cause.
Don't tell stories on me.
Number 9. Leslie Grantham.
This, my sweet, is a letter from my solicitor telling you that your husband has filed a petition for divorce.
Who knew that Dirty Den had some scandals of his own? Well, everybody actually. Before signing on to EastEnders, Grantham was already a convicted murderer, but he'd done his time and embarked upon a new career as Albert Square's most reprehensible villain.
Happy Christmas, eh?
He left Walford in the late 80s and repeatedly refused the BBC's overtures to try and bring him back. Eventually, he gave in, only to depart for a second time after a webcam sex scandal.
I know you've had your bonding session with Chrissy. Well, if you can get over it with her, why not me?
Grantham was tricked into exposing himself in a call with an undercover journalist, with screenshots later appearing in the tabloids. But the more serious offense was that he'd been insulting all of his co-stars, who we're sure weren't happy with this behavior.
It's the big, grand, dramatic exit with the suitcase, and then somehow we're back together a few months later.
No, you have betrayed me once too often. I'm not going to crawl it.
Number 8. Katie Price.
That's another thing. I've done a lot of reflecting. I think it's best that I'm on my own. I just don't want to be in a relationship.
Is a star whose life is essentially a rolling production, and that's half the problem. When your brand is built on constant coverage, shoots can balloon into a palaver of reschedules, late arrivals, and last-minute curveballs, as various producers have reportedly discovered.
I hope we can remain friends as of I came out.
Okay,
Yeah.
so no more.
So you and Alex are split now?
I'm not with him, no.
Price has had high-profile walkaways and mid-series exits with injury, stress, or personal circumstances cited, leaving crews scrambling. Despite landing a regular gig as a Loose Women panelist, giving ITV just enough controversy without generating overwhelming complaints, she eventually quit and then went on a tirade trashing her former co-stars.
And you don't have Botox or nothing. I don't mean to say you did, but you look so good on it.
Can you, Katie?
This was all because they'd had Junior Andre on and not asked him any questions about his mother. Number 7. Kay Adams.
And I'm coming to you, of course, as the elder stateswoman of our panel here.
More Loose Women. In 2025, stalwart presenter Kay Adams found herself sacked from BBC Radio Scotland. Her seat in the ITV studio remained safe, but she was unceremoniously dropped from her radio gig after an allegation of misconduct. Supposedly, she'd been accused of being a bully off-air, but she herself says she still hasn't been shown the complaints and the investigation is ongoing.
From someone who lied about her age till last year. 10 years of a lie, not a year. 10 years.
This is all part of the BBC's new Call It Out scheme, a system for raising complaints against more senior BBC employees to try and avoid another situation like the one with Greg Wallace. We don't yet know what the truth is.
Denise and Kay in toxic feud.
Number 6. Mark Labbett.
£20,000 each. You've outrun the chaser. You've not been caught.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
He's called the Beast for a reason. Labbett's known for regularly losing his temper on The Chase whenever he has a bad loss or gets an easy question wrong.
Well played, guys.
Ouch.
More than once, he's punched the set on his way out, but there's a strong chance that all this is an act for the cameras, since his TV career has hardly suffered because of his fearsome reputation.
It just shows you how they take it. They take it very badly.
Far from his outbursts, the biggest controversy he got embroiled in was when he married a woman half his age, who, by the way, was also his second cousin. How's that for TV royalty? But he's now single and starring on Celebs Go Dating.
I apologise to all the kids watching.
Number 4. James Corden.
If I lived in New York, I'd go every day on the proviso that, you know, they would let me in. So...
From Broadway to late night and back to Blighty, Corden's global run has been as glittering as it's been controversial. Reports of brusque behavior from the headline-grabbing restaurant ban in New York to gripes from crew and writers etched a picture of a star who can be, shall we say, a handful. Spats with fellow celebs and a reputation for being a tough headliner to wrangle haven't helped.
I made a rude comment, and it was wrong. It was an unnecessary comment. It was ungracious to the server.
Ruth Jones seems to be the only person who can put up with him, with rumours swirling that the two are going to pen a new sitcom together, now that Gavin and Stacey has finally wrapped up. Even Matthew Horn supposedly fell out with him for years.
I called him straight away and I told him how upset I was. I was upset, how upset I was that anybody was hurt by anything that I had done.
Number 3. Gregg Wallace.
Would you like to know the truth about the stories regarding me taking my trousers down?
We can't imagine that it's easy to work with someone who can't keep their trousers on, allegedly. All in all, half of the 80 complaints the BBC eventually investigated relating to ex-MasterChef host Gregg Wallace were upheld. He claims he was cleared of the most serious, but 40 legitimate complaints about your behaviour is hardly a vote of confidence.
I can see the complaints coming from a handful of middle-class women of a certain age.
As such, he's been ousted from television, as has co-host John Turode after a complaint about him using a slur was also upheld. Never one to go out gracefully, however, he's now threatening to sue the BBC, saying that, as an autistic person, he wasn't protected by the production. Protected from who? We don't know.
I want to apologise for any offence that I caused with my post yesterday.
Number 2. Sharon Osborne.
You know what? You two should just go next door and let this girl sing. I'm being serious.
She's an industry legend, but that doesn't make her easy to get along with, which is saying something when her longest television gig was sitting on the X Factor judging panel alongside Simon Cowell. Even early into the X Factor, the shine was coming off Sharon, who went on frequent tirades, including at the celebrity audience members.
You very bold.
I apologise.
She later walked off after some scandals left her with no performers under her wing for most of the series. She then stepped down from X Factor completely, got into half a dozen other controversies in the US, before eventually returning in 2010. You just never know what she's going to do or say next.
You messed your That's quite fabulous. You messed your band.
Number 1. Chris Evans.
He's been hailed by many, particularly himself, as the saviour of Radio 1.
He's definitely mellowed out with age, but during his upstart youth on the radio, Chris Evans behaved like a spoiled brat. Believing he was immune from any reprisals because of the audiences he drew, he at one point demanded that the BBC give him every Friday off from presenting his breakfast show so that he could prepare for TFI Friday.
But now his name is joining the roll call of ex-DJs from Britain's most popular radio programme. And all because he wants every Friday off.
They refused, and he quit. But the trouble didn't stop there. There was also his doomed marriage to Billie Piper, who was 18 at the time, while Evans was 35, and then his short-lived time fronting Top Gear. Everybody hated him, and he quit that too. He even got bored of TFI Friday and let anybody present it in its final year.
He's criticised his boss on air, said most of his listeners are thick, made a tasteless joke about Holocaust victim Anne Frank, and only recently refused to do the Radio 1 Roadshow.
Let us know in the comments which divas we forgot to mention.